Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerfherder Council.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, and we are also live on the virtual Cantina Network. We're live at those locations every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you are watching on YouTube, please do not forget to click the like button and click the subscribe button so that you are notified every time that we go live. If you'd like to get some awesome virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And if you would like to get some awesome customizable Nerfherder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. Without further ado, let me bring on my co-host, AJ. I just said adieu when I French. Anyway.
Hey, I've been learning French on Duolingo lately, so in advance of a work trip. So hey, it's good timing, I guess.
Oh, you
nice job. Good pronunciation there.
There we go. Adieu. There we go. So,
tu parles français.
Bees and disease to you too. Name that show.
I cannot, sir. I cannot.
Think that in the 10-year history of the Nerfherder Council, that may be our first ever Sanford and Son reference.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay, yeah, that's going way back.
Yeah. So a couple quick things that I'm excited about before we get into tonight's topic, which you're not excited about. You basically brought up a movie for us.
I'm going to cut you off. Chastity, what are you celebrating that's pretty awesome today?
Oh, okay. Chastity is celebrating something pretty awesome, she said. All right, what do we got, Chaz? And by the way, great to see you. Wish you could have seen the Radio City Music Hall Dream Theater show on Saturday. It was unbelievable. So, all right. So waiting for Chastity here. She's probably typing it out. So I got a couple things that are pretty cool I want to get to before the topic. But while Chastity is typing, there we go. Chastity says, I am 6 years seizure free. That is awesome. I saw that on Facebook. Congratulations. Always good to have medical good news. I actually had some medical news myself today, so I figured I would wait and just tell you on the show, AJ. I bought life insurance last week, and even though my wife has been a nicotine user for the views of the Nerfherder Council don't necessarily reflect those of the Virtual Cantina Network, and there may be swearing, like the curse words that are coming up in a minute here. Yeah, even though my wife has been a fucking nicotine user for over 30 years and upped our rate by $110 a month as a result, they want my fat ass to submit a blood and urine sample, even though I answered no to every single question on their questionnaire. I am not a happy camper, and I let the insurance office know as such. So anyway, but yeah, Chastity, that's awesome.
Did you let them know that there might be some profanity and that your views do not express those of the Virtual Cantina Network?
Not in so many words, but But anyway, yeah, Chad.
Out of that,
probably.
Your next shirt is just the disclaimer itself.
It should. That would probably be. Maybe if I wear it, I'll remember the damn thing.
Yeah.
Although it is getting earlier and earlier in every show, so that's good. Yeah, but no. So, tonight I'm drinking a root beer slushie because I forgot to take my root beer 2-liter out of the freezer when I bought it earlier. So I'm waiting for my root beer to thaw. So that's good. Let's see. I scored the Lego AT-AT driver helmet while I was in New York City. It came in the mail. I felt kind of stupid because they had it at the Lego store in New York City, and I was like, damn, I didn't even think about that. I could have just bought it. That would have been really fun. But I had already ordered it from Lego.com. So it came early. So I've got that and the droid I could have built during the Masters in 2 weeks. So that's good. And in the ultimate show of responsibility and it could be laziness, if you want to look at it that way, I was very excited. I bought a Swiffer, and I bought a cordless vacuum for downstairs in the man cave because I didn't want to keep trundling upstairs to grab the corded vacuum. And that Swiffer. And yes.
Trundling.
It's me.
You said it, not me, man.
It's me. Look at me. I trundle, okay? But yeah, so now everything's a lot cleaner down here because I clean all the time. Steph didn't believe me that I would do it, and I am. So there we go. I'm an adult. And
Awesome.
for those of you who don't know, this is actually some serious stuff. For any of you guys who are PlayStation 5 players, if you have been waiting for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to come out for PS5, they finally announced it a couple days ago. The release date is April 15th, I believe, tax day, and it is now available for pre-order. I jumped on that 2 days ago, so I got the deluxe version, and I'm supposed to get early access. So that is available. I'm very excited about that. I've been waiting for that game ever since they announced it, and it was an Xbox exclusive. So now that they finally are releasing it for PlayStation, I am one happy camper. So a lot of good stuff going on, man. A lot of good stuff.
Nice. So I've heard good things about that game, so I'm kind of excited to get your take on it.
Yes.
I know you can't trust video game reviews online because I think they're just hypercritical people in general. And of course, negativity gets clicks. So the more they can shit on something, the more it's going to get views. That's exactly why we have this kind of a topic tonight. Actually, this sub theme that we've got going on the show, the in defense of, because you and I apparently have, I don't know, awesome or terrible taste in movies, because we've got a whole list of movies that we love that most people don't. So I thought that with Daredevil Born Again being out right now, and I'm actually a couple episodes behind myself. You're about 3 seasons and 6 episodes behind.
Yes, I am.
So you know what we're gonna do, JT? I'm just putting you on the spot here. Since I have to do in defense of this movie, Daredevil, we're gonna do an in defense of the Netflix Daredevil, and you're gonna have to at least catch up a little bit on that. Not watch 3 seasons of television, but I don't know. I'll pick out a few like for you.
But everybody likes it. There's not really a need to defend it. That's like in defense of Rogue One.
Yeah, but you don't. And that's why we can't talk about new Daredevils, because you won't watch it.
Well, it didn't grab me. I watched the first 3 episodes, maybe even 4, and I was like, when's he going to be Daredevil, for Christ's sakes? He's just a blind lawyer poking his stick around. Get to the fucking point. You know I hate that slow burn shit. We went over this, I think, on the last
Not
episode.
a Game of Thrones fan, are you?
I never saw a single second of that show.
Well, don't. I couldn't even get into that one. You talk about a slow burn. We're going to get on the topic soon, I swear, guys. Don't worry. But here's why I tuned out of Game of Thrones. The cold open of the first episode has what's called the White Walkers. They're basically frost zombies. Okay. So dudes are going through the woods. They're on the hunt, and they get massacred by these frost zombies. I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. You know when they show up next?
When?
The finale of season 2. That is way too fucking long to ask anyone to hang around. Like, sorry, I don't know if Joseph Brent is in the audience tonight, but he's been trying to get me to watch Red Dwarf, which is a British sci-fi sitcom. It's been running for like 12 seasons or something. And on and off. Like, they'll do a couple of years and then like take a couple of years off, and then it comes back again. And it's like Doctor Who. It's one of those blind spots in our nerddom, that neither of us have ever really gotten into. But I tried firing up a couple of episodes, and he said, well, you've got to give it like a season and a half to get good. You got to watch like 18 episodes. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah. That's
my patience is not that long anymore.
No, I mean, that's my whole thing with Clone Wars. But at least those are like 23-minute episodes. Isn't Game of Thrones like, aren't those more like
Sopranos? It's a good hour every time.
Yeah, like Sopranos length. Like, I mean, see that's the thing right there. Sopranos, you get right into it. Like the very first episode, he's like trying to run somebody over with a car and stuff. You're like, all right, I want to see gangster shit. And in the first episode, you see gangster shit. So
is
it's
that
like,
part of what hooked you with this movie? Because I mean, it literally drops right in, as does Daredevil. After bleeding on top of a church, then he tries to fall into the church, but doesn't do so gracefully. So he's already Daredevil at the beginning of the movie and near death. So clearly some shit has gone down. Is that like more your speed?
I don't know if it's necessarily that. I just kind of thought that I don't know, something about it just really grabbed me right off the bat. I think it was like the darker tone because I I really really like those sorts of stories. And this was kind of like that. And so I just, when it first came out, I was like, all right, this is cool. I enjoyed it. I've been defending this movie forever. So
this is why it's weird that the Netflix show didn't grab you, because I mean, there's talk about dark. Like, Disney didn't know what to do with it when they bought. Well, actually, when the show was made, they didn't want to like acknowledge it because it did not fit with the MCU. Like, it's gritty, it's bloody as all get out. There's a scene in the first season with Kingpin. It's not much of a spoiler, but there's a car door involved and a guy's head.
Oh, I've heard about that. Okay.
And about 13 uses of the car door. Yeah.
I like that. See, I mean, I'll try it again. A part of the problem is with these shows is if I don't have a lot of time to watch TV by myself. Like if I've got downtime down here, like I'm messing around on the computer doing something for the podcast, or screwing around my budget or something, or working on band stuff, or I'm playing video games. You know what I mean? Like, so if I'm watching TV, it's chilling with my wife. And man, sometimes if I just suggest something, she's like, I want nothing to do with that. So I'm like, well, there goes that. Mm-hmm. Like I have to rewatch Andor, and she don't like Andor at all. So I basically kind of have to like force her through it. Because I don't have the 8 hours really to sit here by myself in the next 2 weeks and just devour the damn thing. So, so that's the thing, like going back and checking this out again is going to be difficult, because I mean, and honestly, this movie we're about to talk about did me no favors. We were like 15 minutes in. She's like, what the hell are you making me watch? Because she watched it with me. And I went, this hasn't aged as well as I thought. But then after about the first half hour, I was like, okay, I'm back into this. This is cool. But again,
talk us through that, because you wanted to bring this up. This is one of your favorites, not one of mine.
Yeah.
So
I can't say it's a favorite, but I just think it gets relentlessly crapped on way more than it needs to. And I also think that not enough publicity has been given to the fact that the director's cut is light years better.
There's like 30 extra minutes or something, right?
30 freaking minutes. And everything always says that, I mean, apparently in the audio commentary, the director was talking about how he was pissed off about the fact that they made him provide a cinema-friendly PG-13 cut. 20th Century Fox is like, oh, it needs to be more family-friendly, and he wanted more violence in there. He wanted it, darker, and that's the one thing that I noticed when I first saw that there was a director's cut years ago. I got it, and I was like, why did they cut this 30 minutes out? Everything that, well, I can't say everything, but most of the major things that people complain about are corrected by that director's cut. I mean, it's just asinine. And the weird thing is that it's like the director's cut is 2 hours and 10 minutes long, which these days is the normal length of a movie that we go see. So what the hell were they doing cutting 30 minutes out of it? I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, there's always business reasons behind this stuff, but I don't understand that crap. There is a lot of stuff here that in this movie on a rewatch, I didn't know anything about Daredevil when I first saw this movie. I never even really heard of the character before this movie came out.
I had heard of him, but didn't know much. So pretty much.
Yeah. Boy, they really got a lot of stuff different from the comic book on this guy. I'll say that. Like, yes, he's blind. Yes, he wears a costume that is pretty comic book accurate, actually, right down to the logo.
Yeah.
But like one of the key things of Daredevil is that he doesn't kill. He's like Batman like that. Like he's got that rule that he does not break. And then the first guy he goes after in this movie, well, can't hang out with you tonight, Foggy. I've got to go kill a guy.
Yeah.
Because we lost the case. Like, what the shit, man? Like that's a huge part of the character.
I think Nick Hall, merchandising for toys. Yep. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They learned their lesson from Batman.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that back then, and knowing it now, it is kind of questionable. But you know,
Like that's his struggle is always about like, if I killed him, they would just like not be a problem anymore. But I can't.
yeah.
So he's like,
Well,
yeah, how do I do vigilante shit without actually killing anybody if they're going to keep coming after me and other people?
Yeah, and you know me, I hate when they change major elements of an existing story like that. Um, so you know, if I had I known that at the time, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed this as much because I'd be like, what the hell? But because I didn't, I was like, all right, this is cool. And I mean, let's face it, it really was kind of a product of its time. You were mentioning that before we got on the air, and it's they've
The
got all
soundtrack is
the
so 2003.
yeah, dude, the total new metal soundtrack and everything. But back then, I mean, that's the kind of music I was writing. That's the kind of music everybody was listening to. So it was almost like this is like super cool. Like, look how cool we are. We've got all these like new metal bands in our soundtrack and everything, and Evanescence and everything is, blew up because of this single and stuff like that. So yeah, I just think this movie would have gotten a lot more love had the director's cut been the one that was released in theaters. But I also think, I mean, unfortunately, upon watching it again, the weaknesses are pretty glaring, and I know that. But I also think part of it for me was also tempered by the fact that, and I said this in the show description, because Marvel has put out such an incredible amount of incredibly great movies since then, we're kind of used to that being, the standard. And this was not that. But I still think it was really, really fun. And I remember at the time I really liked how it was such a different type of a vibe. I just thought the character was cool with the whole blind thing, and his other senses are heightened, and that sort of thing. Like I just thought it was interesting. And I mean,
I will say the way they the way they portrayed his super hearing and whatnot, like that stuff was really cool. It looked cool. I love the sound design of it. Like that stuff was all awesome. I forgot that like when he got blinded as a kid, they almost did like the Spider-Man thing. Where it shows like red lightning tingling through the veins of his eyeballs as the chemicals splash in. And I'm like, God damn it. No, it's not a radioactive spider. He did not get bitten.
Yeah. Those were the nerves being severed and singed, and
it's just
everything.
that was a little bit cringe. But as an adult, as Daredevil, when they show off like how he perceives the world and everything, that was really cool. That was really cool.
So I have a list of stuff that is different. The main changes. So this is the main changes in short. So there are 4 bullet points here. Okay. All violent scenes have been included again. I'll save this one for last because you have not seen it. Instead of a carelessly compounded middle part without proper scene transitions, the movie now appears more fluently and the scene succession makes sense. See, that's what I was saying. Like the stuff they took out, I'm like, why in God's name would you take this stuff out? Like it's very important and it makes the movie flow. I mean, it's like taking a completed movie that works perfectly and going, we gotta chop a half hour. Like what? Why? It works.
I can almost guess at the parts that got the cuts, because there were a few places in this movie where I'm like, how the hell did you get from that scene to this one?
Yeah,
like
and
talk
that's
about
what I thought
out of
too.
nowhere.
Yeah. The third one is without the bedroom scene, the relationship between Matt Murdock and Elektra seems to be more aloof, and you can feel a kind of tension between them. So that bedroom scene that you saw is not in the director's cut. And the main one, there's an entire character. I think I didn't rewatch the theatrical release. I rewatched the director's cut. The subplot with Coolio has been added. Did you have Coolio in yours? I forgot about that.
No, there was no
Okay.
Coolio in mine.
All right. So
I watched the version on Disney Plus, which must be the theatrical cut.
yeah. Okay. So Coolio is basically a criminal, and it says
Hey, allegedly.
in the movie. Damn you. And it really is allegedly, and he gets freed. But yeah, it says the subplot with Coolio has been added. The scene shows how various characters such as Matt Frankie or Ben Urich bring down the Kingpin not only through Daredevil's actions, but also by collecting solid evidence with the help of investigatory work. Thereby, the movie's depiction of vigilante justice is being reduced, and the bond among the characters is strengthened. Ben and Matt are almost friends in the DC. In the cinema version, they hardly know each other. So basically, that what the hell is like the woman that gets murdered? I don't remember if they mentioned her, but Tazio or something like that. So they're defending this case, and Coolio is accused of the murder, and they're like, no, he's innocent. And so they're basically tracking the murder back to, like, they can link it to Kingpin. So it's this big chunk of, like they said, it's investigatory. It's, another thread of how he gets to Kingpin and stuff like that. And so I don't understand why they would remove stuff like that. It adds a depth to the plot that wasn't there before. I mean, it's not even like they had that's part of those scenes in there, like for like a minute and then just blew it off. Like, no, it's like the whole thing is chopped. So it's like, why? I mean, it's pretty major.
All I could think is, like, when they do that stuff, shorter movies can get shown more times per day. It's like the radio single. The radio single's got to be under 3 minutes because they got to get it in rotation so many times, right? So maybe that was it. Maybe they just wanted to get it, playing more often, and maybe they thought they had a hit on their hands, and they wanted to get all the ticket sales they could. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so
yeah, they made some really perplexing cuts from the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, I can't say it enough. It's definitely better in the extended version, in the director's cut. So if anybody's looking to watch this again, definitely rent that. So let's see where some longer cuts here, because it actually goes through like the exact timestamp in the movie and everything, and it'll tell you exactly how much longer it is. Like, for example, Daredevil takes out 2 more guys with martial arts. Director's cut is 3 seconds longer here. Like, I mean, it's literally that. I think one of them was like a half second or something. But yeah, I mean, that whole thing with the Coolio subplot was just, I mean, it's important. It added something different to the story. So I would love to do some more research into this and figure out why these certain cuts were made. I had to go through this pretty quickly and I didn't find anything, but I mean, here's an added scene from the director's cut. Quesada asks who made Daredevil the judge, and Daredevil says, "I did." So it's like, it's kind of like a character beat right there that why wouldn't you keep that in? All right, Lisa Tazio is the person that Coolio is accused of murdering.
Okay.
So, and the whole thing, it leads back to Wesley what's his nuts, like the Kingpin's right-hand man. So
yeah.
But yeah, so it's like his initials are
called
W.
Wesley what's his nuts, sure.
Well, but here's the thing. Okay, so this is a perfect example of something that makes it work. Nick Hall says, I'll need to check out the director's cut then. I like the movie fine. If it makes it better, I'm all for it. Nick, it makes it way better. And I already liked the original, but then when I saw the director's cut, literally my first response was, why are they cutting the shit out? Like, I don't understand. So yeah, but so I mean, the whole Coolio subplot is a major thing, because when they break into her apartment, which is where she was killed, and Matt does the whole Braille thing, and so he feels around on her computer table, and he feels the indentation of writing that's still in the wood, and it's what is it? Mom 986, whatever it is. And they're like, what the hell does this mean? This, that, and the other. And so later on in the movie, as they're investigating the case and figuring it out and this, that, and the other, it gets pretty cool because, how Matt Murdock, he can, kind of hear people's heartbeats, and that's how he's like, oh, innocent, guilty, whatever, how he does that whole thing. Well, in court with Coolio, he's like, he's innocent. Well, then the dirty cop gets up on the stand, and the dirty cop, he's like, his heart's beating normally. He's innocent. Wait a minute. Someone's got to be lying. So later on in the movie, he goes to interrogate the cop and basically, like, out of fear, he's like, you're a slimy bastard. I know it. Like, why the hell is your heart not changing? Like, this, that, and we'll come to find out the guy's got a pacemaker. So that's why. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of a cool explanation.
I do love that stuff. Yeah.
So there's that. And then what's his name? Foggy?
Like, Foggy Nelson.
Boy, Jon Favreau really got to play the shit named characters, didn't he? Who are you in the
Happy Hogan?
Yeah, Happy Hogan, Foggy Nelson, Dippy Jones. Like, just all the worst names. He could be all of the Seven Dwarfs. That's what he should do in Disney next. I'm dopey, sleepy, sneezy, shitty. Like
dude pops up in Punisher. Is like, who are you? Shitburger Magoo.
Shitburger Magoo. Hey, Shitburger, get over here. Shitburger Magoo. Oh my God. There's another shirt. But yeah, so Shitburger is working late and their secretary's in there and she's like, you got to go home, whatever. And he's got the piece of paper that says like Mom 86 on it or whatever. And he's like, she said, what's that? He goes, oh, this is Matt's sole contribution to the Tazio case, which of course is completely worthless. It doesn't say anything. And she goes, well, maybe you're looking at it wrong. And she turns it upside down. And it says WOW 89, which earlier in the movie, when Foggy was trying to get like a business card and stuff like that from Kingpin or whatever, he saw Wesley Wilson, whatever. His cufflinks said WOW. And when you turn the Mom 86 or 68 thing or whatever, it says WOW 89. So it's his initials and the date she was killed. And that's how they track it back to, so that's how they track it back to him.
I forgot about that part. Yeah.
And they know he's in with the Kingpin. So I mean, it's like a major thing. And it's like, well, why the hell would you take that out? So, I mean, I don't understand. That's actually
an interesting story. As much as we're trying to like save this movie and say like why it's unfairly maligned, it might be fair in the theatrical cut, but not in the director's cut. And the real story is, why did they cut that shit out?
Yeah, I can't fathom, because I mean, other cuts, when you see a director's cut, like I'm trying to think what, I'm drawing a blank, but there's one I saw recently. It's a movie that you and I really, really like, and the director's cut is like 45 seconds longer or something, or 60 seconds. It's like not more than a minute. It's like, what the crap is that? But this one is a full 30 minutes, and it kills the story. Like normally these director's cuts are just like little things like, oh, well, this fight scene went on for 6 minutes. We cut it to 5 or something. This is, okay, here's a major chunk of story.
Yeah, this is weird. Like, quick Google search. Apparently the primary reason for cutting it. No, I'm not talking to you, phone. Shut up. I said the word. So of course, everything around me lit up like, yeah, what do you want, dude? Fox wanted to achieve a PG-13 rating. So they took out anything that could push it towards an R.
Yeah, that would make sense. I think like
they wrecked the movie in the process. This isn't just like, well, we like our mature themes. Like, no, you made your movie make no sense.
Yeah. Well, I think like here's a perfect, and when I say that makes sense, I mean, it would make sense that that's the reason. Like, oh, we gotta like tone it down or whatever. There's a scene when Wesley's talking to Kingpin near the beginning of the movie, and he says
You're
that
talking about James Wesley, right?
no, the right hand man.
Yeah, that's James Wesley.
Why does it say WOW on his cufflinks? I thought it was Wesley was his first name.
Well, I don't actually remember from this movie, unfortunately. I just know that in the Netflix show he's called, and the comic books he's called James Wesley.
Okay, we'll just say James Wesley then. Okay,
but this might be one of those like, well, he's David Banner in the 1970s Incredible Hulk. He's not Bruce Banner. We know who you're talking about, right hand man. Anyway,
okay, yeah, right hand. This is really. I'm like, what did I miss? In any case, so in this scene, they're talking, and Kingpin tells Wesley in the old times they used to cut off the tongues of the bodyguards, and that he loves violence. And suddenly turns around and he just cracks one of his guards in the head and breaks the other one's neck. Just kills them, both of them, for no reason. And so it's like an extra minute, and it's like, okay, well, I could see that being something they would. Oh, we can't have this violence. It's like, but I remember when I first saw this movie, thinking, okay, Kingpin's a badass. Yes. Nick Hall, his name is Wesley What's His Nuts. Exactly. Wesley O.
Right.
What's His Nuts. So we've got Shitburger Magoo and Wesley O. What's His Nuts.
This is great. This is better than a director's cut. We're saving this movie, man. Good job.
This is the NHC cut. but yeah, like when I first saw the movie, I remember thinking, okay, well, Kingpin's a badass because he's just huge. But there wasn't a lot of anything to really kind of, show him doing anything until he fought at the end, really. And so I was like, okay, well, I could have used more of him. And that scene in particular right there, there we go. The fight between Elektra and Matt when they first meet. So that's like a minute longer.
One thing that I've tried to remember as I was rewatching this is, like, you got to take it for the time it was made. This is like right in the heart of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right after the X-Men movies had started coming out. So, like, if you compare it to other superhero movies of the time, it's not a whole lot more cringe than those are by modern standards. Because as much as everyone loves the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, if you try to watch them today, they have their own issues for sure.
Yeah.
So yes, some of the weird stuff in this movie can definitely be explained away as, well, it worked at the time. Like, the first kill for Daredevil in the subway station, he literally leaves behind. Or no, sorry, it was in Josie's bar. It was in Josie's bar, and first off, like, all the pool tables are on fire, which is like unnecessary, but okay. And then, well, how do you know it was Daredevil? Boom. Logo in flames. He literally left his logo in gas so it could be lit on fire to look really cool. Like,
see, I like that. That's one of the things I liked. I thought it was cool.
That is one of the cheesiest, like, so of its time kind of things. Like, wait a minute. So you not only off this dude, but then you took the time to, like, go find some gas and draw your logo on the ground so it could be lit up when the cops show up. Like, it makes no sense. But at the time, you're like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, but also don't forget where I'm coming from. I enjoy the cheese factor in a lot of this stuff. So for me, I'm like, okay, that's goofy. I love it. Like, it's just silly enough to be cool for me. Like, I don't have a problem with it. It's like, Daredevil's logo in flames. Like, that's so comic booky, it's not even funny. So
I think the Punisher did it in his movie around this time too, and Batman did it in his. Like, dude, it's just what people did. I mean, if you're going to be a vigilante, you might as well light your logo on fire, right?
Yeah, dude,
it worked for the Undertaker.
I like, right. Man, I liked the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, and everybody shits all over that one.
Man,
Like,
I'll ride or die with you on Punisher Warzone, but that Thomas Jane one, geez, dude,
I liked it.
you
But
are
again, okay,
very soft on movies.
but what did we have? We hadn't had something like that. You know, I mean, it's like, I mean, you got to remember, and this is something that happens throughout cinematic history. It's, you know, you watch something and it's great, and then years later they put out a much better version. Of course, it's not going to age as well, but it doesn't mean the original is like a piece of crap. It just means that it was different. And again, I don't know. I also, again, because of the quality of what they've been putting out, I don't really think that this one should be crucified as such. I mean, you remember, like, they talk about in the documentaries all the time of that Captain America movie from like the earlier mid 80s or something, like, good God almighty. I mean, it's not like that.
I kind of want to track that one down. I've never seen it. Have you?
Oh, no, and I don't even want to.
Oh man. That might be entertaining.
I gotta try and find a picture of this for our audio viewers. It is 1979. Oh my Lord, is it bad? Because on all these documentaries I watch, they have like some brief footage of that one going, yeah, well, this is what it was before. Yeah, what do you think? And it's like, yeah, I think it blows.
Yeah.
I think it really blows. So yeah,
I think in general we are spoiled, like you said. Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like once 2008 and Iron Man hit, everything changed because we had all these movies beforehand where they tried to get stuff going. They really did. They tried with the X-Men movies. They tried with the Spider-Man movies. I'm sure this would have gone somewhere. I mean, they had the Elektra sequel / spinoff, whatever the hell that disaster was. Oh my God.
There it is, man. Look at that Captain America. How great is that?
Shit.
Oh, our audio viewers are loving this. Yeah, that 1979, that's what they gave you for Captain America. A painted motorcycle helmet. The damn shield was clear.
God damn. That helmet is for his protection. That's not for aesthetics.
Yeah. So
like,
yeah,
that's yeah, wow.
That's
Tell
awful.
me you're on an IEP without telling me you're on an IEP.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's why he's on the motorcycle, because he's a slow kid. That's the only way he can catch up.
Right. Miranda Helmick, great to see you. She says 1979 Cap was hot.
Or hoot.
Yeah. He was an owl.
Maybe it was a hoot. Maybe it was a good time.
It would have been better if he was an owl. So, anyways,
no. So some of the earlier takes on superheroes, as much as we like to make fun of now, like the X-Men '99 or whenever that movie came out, because everyone got black leather, of course, because we were in the height of the black leather and neon green glow everything.
Yeah.
Love the Matrix, but fuck you for being so influential. All of a sudden, like everyone had to have a leather duster and sunglasses and glow neon green. But God, there were some really god awful attempts at making superheroes in live action.
Yeah.
I don't know what changed with 2008 with Iron Man, but holy crap, everything before that, like even this, like looking at the costume, for example, very comic accurate, but maybe like a little bit too much in his case. Because like he's got this like scowl etched into his mask. It's a little weird. Like it, how like in comic books, like Spider-Man can have expressions and his eyes can like change size and shape. And you're like, fine, it's a comic book, whatever. But like modern Marvel was very careful not to do that too much because it just doesn't translate to live action. Same thing here. Like, do you have to put like human-like wrinkles and scowl into your Daredevil mask?
See,
I get why that works. I get why that works in a comic book, especially because I think it's more like just a piece of fabric. It's not like a helmet, a molded piece like this.
Yeah.
But it's just like that little bit goofy, where at the time, yeah, fine. Looked all right and definitely comic book accurate. But then like your wallpaper right behind you here, audio viewers, he's got Bullseye over his left shoulder. and nothing like the comic book. So
Yeah.
it's weird. Daredevil, they're like, we got to make him as accurate as possible. Bullseye, they're like, what if Gambit just shaved his head and zhuzhed up the fashion just a scoosh?
Wonder, come to think of it, I've never seen what Bullseye looks like. I think I'm gonna have to look this up.
I think he's basically like Daredevil, but like navy blue or black. And then the thing that he's got in his forehead in the movie is just on his mask or whatever.
Oh yeah, you're right. Look at that. Who knew? All right, let's.
Well, I did. That's why I explained
it. Yes. All right, let's see.
But that's one thing that did actually kind of throw me off is like, okay, so they clearly we're going for like comic bookiness to the nth degree with Daredevil's look, and then like everybody else is just so 2003. It's like nothing like the comic book.
Yeah. All right, so on screen now we have what Bullseye looks like in the comics. Okay, so our audio viewers are getting the shaft again. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Wow, it's interesting they wouldn't go with that look. That's kind of odd. But then again, I mean, that's
I mean, a dude dressing in all dark red is actually somehow more quote realistic than, I mean, I don't know how you're going to get this costume into a live action movie of that time period and not have it look goofy as hell.
But that looks like an easy one to do. And by the way, Nick Hall says also they made him Irish instead of Cajun.
Oh, he's talking about the comparison between Gambit and Bullseye.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was talking about the two.
Yeah, the way he can like fling anything with like absolute precision. I'm like, well, that's Gambit. I mean, Gambit flings around playing cards. Anything that Gambit throws is lethal because he's going to charge it up with his mutant power and he can throw anything. Like, so he's Bullseye. Bullseye just can't charge his shots. That's all.
Okay. Like I thought he was a cool villain. I thought it was interesting. It's like, how do you fight somebody that can't miss? I thought that was kind of a cool concept.
No, that is a cool concept, and I really like the and I always like, okay, so Daredevil can basically see without seeing, which is a huge advantage, of course, because he can just like turn the lights on people, and then he can still do just fine. So like, what do? You deafen him.
Yeah,
that was outstanding.
Yeah, I mean the strategy of it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, especially like in the, the big fight with Bullseye in the church. They're on a pipe organ. You're like, oh, even though you knew where it was going, you're like, well, that's a pretty cool setup.
Mm-hmm.
What's he gonna do? Throw pews at him? Otherwise, like, have just this wood splintering, and he's deaf for like a second. Like, no,
mm-hmm.
It's like, no, man.
What did you think about the CG? I mean, it's definitely early days of CG. You got some pretty cringeworthy stuff in other movies. I want to know how you think this held up.
I mean, it wasn't great, but I also, once you just asked me and said, what'd you think of the CG? I went, there was CG in this? Oh, yeah, I guess there was. So I didn't notice it a ton. I mean, it wasn't, this one wasn't overly, this one wasn't overly reliant on that. So I think it works better than some of those other ones. The one thing I noticed is the parts where you kind of need it, where there's scenes they can't do it. It's always in slow motion.
It's unfortunate, right? It just gives you more time to look at it.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking of like primarily that final fight, where the pipe organ being destroyed, and like, by the way, Daredevil has no actual superpowers, right? Like he can't jump 20 feet in the air or anything, right?
In the movie, he can.
Yeah, in the movie he can. I was very confused by that. I'm like, what the shit?
Yeah. Well, I think, and that's the thing. And Nick Hall says, and I agree. He says the glass throwing scene was a little silly, though. Yeah, that was, to me, it just kind of looked stupid how he was catching them, because he looked like he's going, like doing a dance, catching some glass. Like, what the hell was that? But yeah, I don't know.
See, I think we're coming at this from two different angles, because you're in defense of this movie because you genuinely like it. I'm in defense of it because it's in that realm of camp. It's trying not to be, but it is. So, I'm a wrestling fan, so you know how wrestling goes. It's either 2 out of 10 or below, hilariously bad, or 8 out of 10 or above, it's good shit.
Yeah.
So I think you think this is somewhere in the 8 and above camp. I think this is in like the 2 and below camp. So
Okay.
I enjoy it, but I enjoy it because it's not good.
See, and I again, when I was rewatching it the other day, like the first 15 minutes, half hour, I was like, oh boy, this is not. Yeah, but then as it went on, I was like, okay, I remember why I like this movie. So honestly, I
Was
think
it the Nickelback? Is that what did it for you?
No, it's definitely not the Nickelback. Honestly, I wonder how much it suffers from having Ben Affleck, because I know at the time that was really panned. And I have to admit, they've had big name actors in all these other movies, but for some reason, it's just you could believe Chris Evans as Captain America. You could believe Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. The list goes on. I just, you can't buy Ben Affleck as a superhero. I'm sorry. It's just not.
Yeah, he's had a couple shots at it, and don't even
I
like
was
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I was shocked they made him Batman, because I mean he's, there are similarities here with Matt Murdock, and so it's like, man, they're gonna give him another chance to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of interesting, but yeah. I don't know. By the way, going back to these plot differences, they also changed the order of things pretty drastically.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm really gonna have to watch this director's cut.
Yeah, it says that in the theatrical version, this is in the middle. This is the middle part they're talking about. Got all screwed up in the theatrical cut. In the theatrical version, it goes street fight, office scene with the invitation, romantic scene on the roof, love scene, and then the ball. In the director's cut, it goes romantic scene on the roof, then the street fight, then the scene in the church, then the office scene with the invitation, and the scene in the church being like the priest trying to get him to come to church and all that crap. So yeah, romantic scene on the roof, and then the street fight. So basically, he has to cut it short. So that kind of adds something to their relationship, him and Elektra. Scene in the church. So it's kind of like, yeah. Here's the explanation. He says there's quite a huge change in the director's cut. The roof scene with Matt and Elektra follows now. In the theatrical version, it's much later. In the director's cut, the scene is a bit longer. You learn that Elektra's mother was murdered right before her eyes. I mean, that's kind of important,
Yeah, and what does it say about your script? Or, I mean, maybe it's not the fault of the script, but you shouldn't be able to reorder scenes without consequence. Because that says that they're not actually building a story from scene to scene. If you could just take the fourth scene, let's make that number 2, and we'll keep 3 where it is. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
you should see, as you revisit these relationships throughout the movie, you should see some escalation, and they grow closer or farther apart or something. It shouldn't just be interchangeable. Things can happen in any order. It's totally fine.
Yeah, and I mean it changes. It just changes the relationship, and when they reorder things, because it says the key element, he's talking about between Matt and Elektra, is different too. In the director's cut, Matt leaves her in the rain because he hears the sound of a fight. In the theatrical version, this fight is before the roof scene and they make out. It's like, yeah,
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they don't. In the theatrical cut, they're always getting cut off from hooking up. And so it really adds some tension to, their relationship, like it said earlier. And it's just, why in the hell would you cut that out? I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's really weird that they made all these edits for ratings purposes and not for runtime. Maybe put in different scenes then or something. You can't just cut the stuff that doesn't work for your rating and expect the story to hold up. That's ridiculous.
It's just, I got to do some more research into this because I would love to hear why these choices were made. Because like you just said, it doesn't make any sense. There's just, I don't know. And a lot of the stuff is like 11, 12 seconds here and there and stuff. Here's 4 seconds. It says in the director's cut now, the scene where Daredevil watches Nachios from the roof is shown. In the theatrical version, you already can see Bullseye standing up on the motorcycle. Like, okay, that's a little pee-pee thing. Like, all right, fine. Whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just the things that don't work for a lot of people, I don't hold against it. I just don't. It was a fun movie. I had never seen anything like it. It was because if you think about it, even the X-Men movies and whatnot that had come out, they were bright. This was more like the 1980.
Part,
yeah. I
don't know. I remember the first one being dark, like visually dark, not dark in tone, but the lights were. It was usually nighttime when they were fighting, and they were black leather and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I think in general, it wasn't like you didn't have this like serious vibe to it. A blind guy, and this guy who never misses. Nothing happy happens in Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
He hooks up with Elektra, but then she gets killed. And so, okay, that's a shitty thing to happen. Nothing good happens. It was just like a downer the whole time, which I thought was unique. And I thought it was a cool take on superheroes, I just, So Miranda says, I think Affleck is a terrible actor, especially in high action movies. I think he's a great actor, but just not in these types of movies. I've liked him in other stuff. Chastity Crawley says, continuity is key. Hollywood needs to learn that. Miranda Helmick, that's the point of the show we're talking about. Her question is, why would they make the theatrical and director's cuts vastly different? That's not the norm in most movies, correct? Yeah. Not at all. Like we were talking about before. I want to say it's Aliens, where it's like one's 143 minutes and the other's 144. It's like, well, what the hell?
It's something crazy like that. Yeah, usually theatrical and director's cut is just for runtime.
Yeah.
It's
Nick Hall said
the studio has a target they want to hit, and the director's like, all right, well, I have to meet that, but I would like to have more stuff in there.
Yeah. Sorry, I almost cut you off there. Nick Hall says that depends on the movie. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 cut is vastly different. That is a good point. I forgot that the director's cut had a bunch of different crap in it. You know what?
I wonder in cases like that, like I wonder how the contracts are worked out. Like, does the director have say over final edit, or does the studio?
Yeah,
I gotta imagine the reason there are director's cuts is because once the director turns in his cut, then it's up to the studio to do whatever the hell they want with it.
Yeah. That one's an interesting example, Nick, because I'm a huge fan of the second Rob Zombie Halloween. That could easily be another In Defense Of episode for me. That one, I think, because it's a horror movie and the plot was so wonky already, I don't know if those two cuts were such a glaring difference to me, like these two cuts of Daredevil, because I think the director's cut of Halloween 2 still had all the gore, it still had that goofy white horse stuff in it, so I think that one is not as glaring as the Daredevil cuts. But that's a very good example. Thank you for reminding me of that. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at the camp and everything, AJ, and I'm just like, I wanted to be entertained, and I was. It was a different kind of vibe. It was much darker, always in the shadows. Nothing good happened. Like, oh, this is cool. It's a different take on superheroes. And I think while we were talking, I thought of something that kind of might explain why the stuff from 2008 forward worked better, even though it was, all those things in the Infinity Saga and whatnot obviously are fantastical and whatnot. they do seem to be grounded in a little bit more reality. You know what I mean? Because like you just said, you bring up the example of Daredevil being able to jump like 20 feet. It's like, well, he can't do that. So when you got him doing that in 2003, well, they didn't do that in in the Infinity Saga and stuff. It was like, no, I've like Captain America do it, but that's because he's Captain America. Iron Man was just a man.
If you've got superpowers and super strength, great, sure, jump all you want.
Yeah,
but if you're just in a suit, like that's always been one of my issues with Batman. Is Batman's just a dude in a suit. So unless you're going to explain that the technology in the suit is doing stuff, I still feel like he's limited to being like just a really fit guy. So he can only take so many punches. He can only run so fast and so far. He can only jump from a certain height without breaking a leg, So even with Batman, it can get a little bit ridiculous sometimes, the punishment he's able to absorb.
See, and thankfully with Batman, I think it was done a solid by that crazy TV show. Because people who are familiar with that, which they were 20 years apart or whatever, 23 years apart. Maybe they weren't. But hell, even in that first Batman movie from the 60s, when he's like flying over the ocean, like hanging out of the helicopter on the ladder, and the shark comes in,
the rubber shark.
Yeah, good thing I brought my bat shark repellent. Like, it's like, they kind of established right away the goddamn utility belt's got something for everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you kind of expect that. That's like his thing. So I think you kind of get used to that. And also a lot of the stuff in the 89 Batman and forward, like when he has to get somewhere, he's like using a repelling thing. Like he shoots the little, grappling hook and off he goes. So it is more grounded in reality. It's just he's got, the line of dialogue, where does he get those wonderful toys? So even that was a little more believable.
Yeah, I think they forgot that a couple times in this movie. That he's just a guy.
Yeah.
Like jumping 20 feet in the air, or hell, even dumb shit. And again, I went into this like expecting it to be bad because I never really enjoyed this movie like you did.
Mm-hmm.
The very first scene where he drops into the church, and he's got his sticks that have like string between them, not nunchucks, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Whatever they call that weapon. But he drops like, I don't know how tall that church is, but he's like most of the way down to the floor and then falls. I'm like, how much rope you got in that thing? Jesus Christ. Forget about like you're not superhuman, but like that just defies the laws of physics. Like there's not that much string in your nunchucks or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
But it makes for a hell of a visual to have a soaring ceiling in your church. You got to fit the pipe organ in somewhere, right?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of those moments you just have to suspend disbelief. Chastity Crawley with a good point. She says, like, there are scenes in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone that were cut out completely that would fill in so many holes. It may not be just because of time. Harry Potter 7 and 8 are way longer. Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of watching those right now. It's a good point. I love the mute button on this thing because I can burp and no one knows. But now they do, so I ruined it anyway.
So, yeah.
Way to go. Chastity also says, well, doesn't Alfred say, what is the point of all those bloody push-ups if you can't lift a log? When he lifts the beam off Bruce Wayne in the fire. He's a guy in a super suit, but he's just a guy. Yeah. I don't know. It's I think the fact that they did ground it in some sort of reality going forward kind of removes the camp from it. And I think they made the stories a little more human. And honestly, I think I think a massive difference is the difference in dialogue. Growing up and I'll be honest, even up until probably like I think we started this show, people would bitch about the dialogue. I'm like, well, it ain't that big a deal, unless it's something glaring like that damn love scene in Attack of the Clones. But other than that, I'm like, it's But now that I've kind of like grown older and kind of looked for it, I'm like, yeah, man, dialogue makes a really big difference. And this had some shitty dialogue. Being completely honest. So that I don't think helped it either.
that was one of my so bad it's good moments, is just hearing them call out like all the catchphrases, right? Like, well, you've got to talk about being a man without fear,
Yeah.
and you've got to talk about the devil, and like every other thing that Daredevil is known for saying or being. Like every catchphrase from the comic book is here, and not cleverly. It's just in there. I swear, like someone lost the bet. They're like, "Oh, it's been 7 minutes since we said something that people would recognize." Someone quick, call him the Devil's Hell's Kitchen. Okay, good.
Wink,
Check.
wink, nod, nod.
Yeah. Did you hear it? Did you hear it?
Well, that's like I was in New York City over the weekend, and we were kind of.
Did you go to Hell's Kitchen?
We were staying pretty much damn near in Hell's Kitchen. So yeah, I was like, wow, okay. Which was ironic because I was there to go see Dream Theater, and my favorite Dream Theater instrumental is actually called Hell's Kitchen. But yeah, it was weird because like we were in the hotel room kind of relaxing in between activities at one point. It was kind of power napping, and the RoboCop remake came on, and I was like, it's not as bad as the Total Recall remake, but it ain't great. And when the guy busts out with, "I wouldn't buy that for $1," I'm like, seriously? Are you kidding me right now? Really? Yeah. If you're gonna say the line, say it properly. Don't reverse it. That is just asinine. Ugh.
There's one. Can we make a promise we're never going to talk about that RoboCop on the show, please?
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, I don't. No, that means I would have to actually have to sit through it again.
Yeah. The other thought that struck me as I was watching this is Daredevil 2003. Like, you really have to say that now because the more modern interpretation is just so much more famous.
Yeah.
We're only 5 years removed from Iron Man. It's crazy to think that these two movies are so close together and yet so vastly different.
Well,
and how many things that Iron Man just got to work that were attempted here and just didn't.
Well, I think they saw what wasn't working. I mean, it was, they had enough examples of, things that fans were bitching about to where they could go, okay, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. We need to fix this. I will say, if you want to see something really interesting, I talked on the show previously about that Icons Unleashed or Unearthed or something on Amazon about Star Wars, which was awesome. Well, apparently it's not just that serious, because I watched one about the Marvel movies, and it goes from the beginning, like all the rights things and all that kind of stuff, all the way through Ant-Man. So that cool. and they also do one about Batman, which is excellent as well. It basically starts with how the guy bought the rights to Batman for some ungodly, crazy cheap amount of money, and he wanted to make a dark and gritty Batman like the comic books showed him, portrayed him as. And that's, the genesis of the 1989 Batman, and then it goes from there and goes through the Nolan trilogy and stuff. And but yeah, so I mean, there in the Marvel thing is really, really interesting, and it kind of tells that story of, there were so many failures beforehand that, doing Iron Man was just such a damn risk, because everything else really hadn't, outside of the Spider-Man movies, at least the first two anyway, there was no real big, blockbuster hits. So, yeah, again, it's so hard to quantify why a movie like this doesn't work, but everything afterwards did. But again, I think it does come down to dialogue, and if I really had to think about it, dialogue and grounding this stuff in some sort of reality, because otherwise it can be campy,
Yeah, I think a lot of this one comes down to time and place. Like, some movies are timeless. This is not one of them. But at the time it was made, this is one of those ones, because I think we both saw this one when it came out, or shortly thereafter. We must have rented it or something.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. We definitely enjoyed it. It hasn't aged well, but that doesn't mean it was a bad movie at the time. So I think if you walk into this in the lens of it's 2003 and what was cool in 2003, okay, keep that in mind and watch the movie. Totally, I would call it fine. I wouldn't call it good, but I'd call it fine. It was on par with the other stuff, and most superhero movies weren't that good at the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
this
and
is probably I got to check my dates to be completely certain, but I want to say this is like, you know what this movie reminds me of a lot. This movie reminds me of the first attempt at the Mortal Kombat movies.
oh, I don't think
It
it's
just has that
cheesy.
style about it, right? You know, like the stilted combat and just like the look, like the cameras they used or something. Like you can almost tell. We've watched enough movies now. You can almost tell like when a movie was made just by looking at a frame, and you're like, oh yeah, the cameras of those years looked like that.
Right.
You know, like if you fire up Fifth Element, you know you're watching like late 90s sci-fi.
Yeah.
And you know, early 2000s, especially ILM anything, you've got digital is all get out.
Yeah.
You know, like 80s movies just have a look about them. And I swear it's just down to the equipment used to film this stuff. And this movie like looks the way it was written and the way it was shot and everything, just to me, it's like I could still hear that damn Mortal Kombat jingle in my head.
Right.
You know, the ultra synth and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, I mean, like you said, they've got all these, you know, new metal bands in there. It kind of dates itself because that's pretty much the entire soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you remember. And so it kind of holds it back in that respect. So
I miss that though. I'll tell you what, I miss that. Like it used to be that a movie would come out and it was so loaded with like pop music, especially like hard rock, heavy metal, that the soundtrack was almost just an excuse to get a compilation of a bunch of B-sides of bands that you love. You know, like what was it? Dracula 2000, I think, was a banger of a soundtrack. It had all the bands you could ever want to listen to. Had nothing to do with the movie whatsoever, but they're like, sure, what the hell?
Yeah. That one, is that the one that has, there's an awesome Pantera song on one of those.
Yep.
I think it's Avoid the Light. Oh my God.
Yeah. It had
Freddy
Pantera,
versus Jason,
it had Seven Dust, it had Taproot. I mean, all these bands. Okay, so I looked up the Daredevil, the album. Fuel, Seether, Nickelback, Saliva, Rob Zombie with Drowning Pool, and Evanescence. There's three others that I don't recognize, but yeah, 6 of the 9 songs. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't hit show more. There's actually 20 songs on here. Hoobastank, Chevelle, another Evanescence, 12 Stones, Finger 11. Need I go on?
Wow. That's crazy.
Talk about of its time. Holy shit.
Boy Sets Fire. Nice. There was a Hoobastank song in it? Moby. Oh. Moby, a 36-year-old bald guy. Every time I hear his name, I just think of the Eminem tune. Yeah. Nick's got a good point. He says the cast was there for the most part, for sure. Michael Clark Duncan, Joey Pants, Joe Pantoliano, and Colin Farrell were all really well cast and acted their parts damn well. Yeah, that was cool. Like I thought, again, there's so much to like here, but it's just, you know, I will defend it, but I also can't really shit on people unless they just absolutely say it's like pure trash. You know. Kale, good to see you, May. Says, wasn't there an Alter Bridge song in the soundtrack? I did not see one when we just looked, so I don't think so. But yeah, I don't know, man. I really like it. I enjoy it. Again, for those of you tuning in late, if you don't like it, I would if you like it enough to rewatch it, I should say, at least give it a shot. Watch the director's cut because it makes a massive difference. If you don't like it enough, okay, well, I think you're wrong. I think it's enjoyable and fun.
Kale, to answer your question about Fantastic Four, yes, that is the soundtrack that has Alter Bridge, but it's not for the soundtrack. It's Shed My Skin, which comes off their first record.
Wow, music fact Kale did not know. Look at that.
I wasn't a fan of Alter Bridge when that movie came out, so I wouldn't have recognized it at the time.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
How little I knew. No, dude, I can give you some highlights of Daredevil season 1 at least to watch, and I think you'll enjoy it a lot better because once he does become Daredevil, like the fun part is he does get his ass kicked a lot. And that's you talk about like grounding it in reality. Like, yeah, he wins his fights, but holy shit, does it cost him everything every time?
Okay.
Like, yeah, okay, I put him down, but well, I'm bleeding out now, so I've got to go find a nurse. Like, that kind of thing. And the show's signature was that they started it in season 1 and it was such a hit that they, no pun intended, did it every season. They had what's called a oneer. Are you familiar with this filming term?
No.
It means like one really long take, like where there'd normally be like camera cuts. The camera just holds for like minutes at a time in a scene with no cuts. Now, traditionally, it's because, it's super hard to do. So like you got to give credit to like the production and the actors for not fucking up and doing it all, one take. But, more modernly, they use like editing tricks and stuff to make it look like it didn't cut away, but it actually did. Like, if I were to go like this, like I'm obscured, so you can put a cut in behind my hand, and then it looks like it's a continuous shot, that kind of stuff. But anyway, there's this hallway fight where the camera just goes slowly down this hallway as Daredevil is fighting a horde of goons in and out of different rooms and doorways. So like he's fighting in the hallway and then he fights into a room. Well, the camera's still here, but then he gets punched back into the hallway again and then like goes back into another room, and like it's like 3 or 4 minutes of fighting. It's awesome. And they do one of those in like every season.
Kale says oneer. See, 1923. Isn't that 1917?
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of the right movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also
again, that's not actually
Birdman.
a oneer. It's just edited to look like a oneer.
Yeah, true. That Birdman was supposedly a oneer, but I doubt that.
No, if you want an actual oneer that's kind of fantastic, God, we're down the rabbit hole now, and I can't believe I'm gonna bring up Nicolas Cage, but I think it's called Snake Eyes.
Really?
The opening scene is him in an arena, and he basically walks through the entire damn arena in one shot. Like he's having a conversation and runs into somebody else, and he has to go over to this part. It's like 5 minutes, and yeah, it's like, how do you not screw up a take that long?
Huh?
Yeah, I think this is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, when he attends a high-profile boxing match. So yeah, so it starts at the arena with the boxing match about to go down, and it's like just 5 minutes, all one take.
Wow. Okay. See, that kind of stuff does fascinate me. I do like when they do those kinds of tricks, because it's like, how'd you do that? Like a famous one of those is the opening scene of the original Halloween movie in '78. Like with the camera basically like from the perspective of Michael Myers, like walking around the house, up the porch, into the house, up the stairs, and it was all one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow. Okay.
12 minutes for this Nicolas Cage scene, by the way.
Whew, man.
Yeah, bonkers,
like you said,
right?
Like you said, could you imagine not making a mistake for 12 minutes?
Get like 11 minutes in, you flub a line, like, fuck my life. Okay.
You got 2 lines left. That's the one you mess up. God damn it. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Last line. Goodbye, sir. In the take. See you, buddy. Shit.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Oh. All right,
but we've got plenty of other ideas for this In Defense Of series, but I would love to know from the audience, like, what's a movie that you love that most people don't? Because everyone's got that list, right?
Yeah, what do you love? Like, that's some scotch. Sorry, went down the Anchorman rabbit hole. Yeah, I
was
definitely
thinking Always Sunny. I was like, crack. I love crack.
Nice. Chastity says, watch Secret Window with Johnny Depp. The first scene where he's in the car is a oneer. Camera comes from the outside and goes in the car. I've heard mixed reviews on that one. Wonder if that's any good. Yeah, definitely. I like doing these In Defense Of things. I mean, there's other ones we could do. I'm telling you, what I want to start doing, like, come up with a list of, because I have a list. Private chat. Yes, you're exactly right, AJ. Yeah, I have a list of movies I consider perfect movies, and so I would like to actually like discuss them sometimes, because I think some would kind of surprise you. So it could be, and maybe you have ones that you think are perfect and I don't. We can kind of debate them.
Snuff films don't count.
Hey, look,
Nor does Two Girls, One Cup.
Listen, you say snuff films don't count, but if I'm not mistaken, I can give away one on my list, and I think it's not on there, but I'm adding it. I forgot I wanted to add it. Human Centipede Part 2. Come on, man. That is as horror as a horror movie can possibly get.
Yeah. We're going to say that one for October, though.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
That's our horror month.
Is there
so what's coming up next on the Nerfherder Council in 2 weeks?
So in 2 weeks, we are going to be doing our Andor primer. So we are going to be recapping season 1, discussing all aspects of that show, and kind of trying to see if we can predict things that are going to happen in Andor season 2. Just basically doing a ramp up to Andor season 2, because the 2 weeks after that, we will be discussing the first few episodes that have been released of Andor season 2. So the next two episodes. The next two episodes. Yeah, exactly. The next 2 episodes of the show are going to be Andor related. So we're going to get everybody caught up, and I think we will also be doing a guest spot for some virtual Cantina Network coverage of Star Wars Celebration Japan. And the dates of that are April 18th through the 20th. So we will be filling in and doing a little bit of content there, because several members of the usual crew that covers Celebration, they are going to be in Japan. So they'll actually be attending the event. So they will be unable to provide their usual coverage, but we'll be doing.
Did they say why they won't just broadcast from the bathroom?
I still wish we had that damn bumper. That was fantastic. Only once we got in the bathroom did we realize how bad of an idea that was going to be.
Right.
So for any of you guys who don't know this story, this is old school Nerfherder Council. So one of the first celebrations we were at, AJ and I, we had the idea for the podcast, and we were like, oh, we should record an episode from the bathroom at Celebration and just get random people talking about Star Wars. So we're like, we're going to do it. So we got kind of lubed up a little bit on I think Saturday or something. And we were in the bathroom and instantly realized this is not as good of an idea as we thought it was. This is really invading people's privacy. Could be background noise. But we did get an awesome bumper out of it. I just can't find it. So we did record a bumper for it. But yeah, that was our grand idea. We thought we were so hilarious because we were going to record an episode of the podcast in the shitter at Celebration. Needless to say, we did not. Cooler heads prevailed. It was I'll never forget how instantaneous it was. Both of us looked at each other like, "Ooh, yeah, this is a bad idea." So that was pretty damn funny. But yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, so we're going to be back to our usual Star Wars content over the next month. We will talk some Celebration on this show as well, but honestly, looking at the panel lineup, let's face it, unfortunately, Star Wars is kind of at a low point right now. It's got Andor, but that's about it. So there's just not a whole lot going on right now that usually we gush about Celebration, but
yeah.
This one is just, and they usually dial it back for the international ones anyway. Is this 3 or 4 days? I forget.
3, 18th, 19th, and 20th of April.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, even that it's a little smaller scale of an event. Obviously, if anything big comes out about it, we're at their, they're going to announce something that we haven't heard of yet, I'm sure. But we'll cover the important stuff, but we're not gonna go in depth on our show like we usually do over celebrations, because the international ones just kind of come and go.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that we're going to get is finally some news about Mandalorian and Grogu. So I mean, it comes out next year, so I'm wondering how much they have done that they can show us. So that'd be pretty interesting. I'm trying to. Where's the damn?
Yeah, I guess there'll be at least a teaser trailer for them.
It's got to be something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. The panel schedule. Is there anything great? Oh, at 9:30 on Friday, there's the Bachi Maku Hyperlane. There we go. 9:30 a.m. Collectors Social. They're having a social at 9:30 in the morning? Whew. Good Lord. All righty. Let's see. So the main panel at 10 a.m. on Friday is the Mandalorian and Grogu. Who's the boss?
The lack of Andor stuff was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
I thought that this was going to be Andor's celebration.
They have a panel, Star Wars TV ads through the years.
Yeah, you can tell they're really running out of shit.
Yeah. Dark Side for Life. Why the bad guys are so impactful and just way cooler. Ahsoka's Underworld. Lucasfilm Publishing. Trying to find where all these big ones. This is not laid out very well. Interesting. Yeah. So 10 a.m. on Saturday is the Andor panel. So there's a big one. Let's see. It looks like the main. Wow. Yeah, this would not be for us, dude. You know what the main panel is at 10 a.m. on Sunday?
I think I do.
First Look, Star Wars Visions, Volume 3.
I mean, they're in Japan and it's an anime series, of course. It does track.
Yeah. Here's a good one. ILM presents The Mandalorian and Beyond, behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and more. I just want to know when the closing ceremony is. 3:30 p.m. Okay, let's find this out. What time in America is 3:30 p.m. Eastern time? Actually, what America, asshole. How about Cleveland, Ohio, dildo? What a moron.
I love your self-talk. It's fantastic. Guys, you should hear this guy on a golf course. It's astounding.
Oh. All right, so 3:30 p.m. our time is 4:30 a.m. there. Ah, damn it. That means it's going to be 4:30 in the morning on Monday. Oh, no, but that means when we wake up on that Monday morning, dude, we're going to know when the next celebration is. And then the wait is on.
Yeah, we're already looking forward to Celebration 2027, folks. 50th anniversary of Star Wars. I think they might have something big planned for that one.
Yeah. That's guys, real quick, and then we can close up shop because we're just kind of riffing here, but yeah. We have been waiting for this because having done the 40th anniversary in 2017, that was a massive event. And there was so much cool stuff. So, 2027 can't come soon enough, except financially, in which case it can keep its ass away for a few years so I can save. But, so. All right, man. Well, why don't we close up shop on that celebration-related note. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in again to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial. and a free audiobook download. If you're watching on YouTube and have not done so yet, please click the like button and click the subscribe button so that you are notified every time we go live. Hit the notification bell as well. Excuse me, forgot that part. If you'd like to get some Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And if you would like to get some customizable Nerfherder Council swag, go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com, and you can get all kinds of great stuff there. So don't forget, guys, we do have all of our socials at the bottom of the screen, our Patreon, our Discord, our X/Twitter, whatever you call it, the blue sky thing. I don't even know what that one is, but we have those. So those are at the bottom of the screen if you'd like to follow us there. And we will be right back here. It will be,
April 9th.
April 9th, correct. So, yeah, on Wednesday, April 9th, we'll be right back here. And we'll be talking some Andor Season 1. So anything else from you, AJ, before we bounce?
Nah, man, we're all good. I am loving my rewatch of Andor right now. So I'm primed for that next episode. It's going to be a good one.
I get no credit for my 2003 reference saying we're going to bounce.
No.
I pulled a Daredevil. Okay, well, never mind. Fuck it. All right. All right, guys. We'll see you guys on Wednesday, April 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at all of our usual locations. Until then, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
Yes, I am.
And we'll catch you next time.